all the music that you've combined, electronic, new wave, punk, it's not necessarily the lyrics that people will listen to. It's the whole sensation of the whole song. So how do they translate into messages?
Well, that's interesting because when I was a philosophy major, I mainly focused on linguistic philosophy. And a big, I'm afraid I'm about to get really boring, but a big part of linguistic philosophy is understanding how people respond to information and where meaning is derived from. And I grew up, my mom was an English major, and I grew up in a very sort of like intellectual, literary household. And I like words quite a lot. But what I'm really fascinated by, it's one of the reasons why I was drawn towards dance music and disco, was the ability to take banal words and infuse them with tons of really poignant meaning. You know, like the lyrics of I Love You. You know, it's been sung 1,000,000 times and it means 1,000,000 different things. And that's one reason why I love working with disco divas, because you give a great disco diva really trivial lyrics, but somehow they can sing them in such a way that it's so pregnant with meaning and significance. So, I mean, I love the Leonard Cohen approach to lyric writing, or someone like Bruce Cockburn, you know, people who really focus on lyrics. But I also really love taking almost painfully simple lyrics and trying to infuse them with, you know, subtext and metatext and different. Like, there's one song on this album last night called I'm in Love. And I think the whole song has 9 words. And to me, that's kind of an interesting challenge. Like, how do you take a song with 9 words and give it meaning? So it's almost like an inside challenge that, like me, the former sort of philosophy major who focused on linguistic studies, it's like a challenge I give myself to an extent. Like, because you could write 800 words and actually convey less meaning than you could with just a few.
Well, I mean, when you work with vocalists, what do you look for in a vocalist for electronic music?
Well, what I love in a vocalist, either great technical proficiency, like someone who's just got a beautiful voice, or someone with a really distinctive voice. More often than not, actually, I think I prefer the distinctive voice, because there are a lot of people who have technically great voices without a lot of character. But someone who has like a truly unique voice, you know, that even if it's not technically perfect, something that really strikes a chord within you.
What do you see as the future of dance music?
Well, from my perspective, dance music, and I don't want to sound overly reductionist or simple, but dance music is any music that makes people dance. And that could be polka, it could be klezmer music, it could be disco, it can be the Rolling Stones, it can be hip-hop. I just love that idea of music that makes people dance, whether they're dancing at a wedding, whether they're dancing in their living room or in a nightclub, whether they're dancing to like really cutting-edge electronic music, or whether they're dancing to Porgy and Bess. You know, like, I love that music has that power to get people to stand up and move around.
And finally, sorry to jump around like this, but your name, Moby, as inspired by your great-uncle's book, classic, Moby Dick. Have you had any attachments from the special origins of your name?
Yeah, I mean, well, my full legal name is Richard Melville Hall, and I'm supposedly related to Herman Melville. It's complicated, because he had a really strange life. He had a lot of success with a book, I think it was called Taifu, when he was young. And then, as he became better at writing, he became a lot less successful. And he sort of ended his life penniless and in obscurity. You know, he was a shipping clerk. And he'd written Moby Dick, and when it was released, no one liked it. It got terrible reviews, didn't sell very well. And I think it was only about like 20 or 30 years after he died that people started to discover it. And on that side of the family, like the Melville side of the family, there are a lot of very sort of dark, tragic men. And it's weird, I'm always aware of that, because I definitely have a propensity to be a little dark and take myself too seriously. So I almost have to force myself to not be too self-involved and take myself too seriously.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Seriously, I'm very happy to meet you.